Hello? All right, that's better.
Do you believe in life after love, after love, after love, after love? I really don't think you're strong enough now. Do you believe in life after love, after love, after love, after love?
We're soul sisters. We are football soulmates. Gay. Gay. What if we introed our video that way? All right, really, we don't have much to talk about other than the fact that Bills have
Patriots suck.
Yeah, something like
Thanks for lighting your stadium blue and red. Now, off.
that. You should say that. Welcome back to another edition of The House That Allen Built. I'm Scott K. Martin. With me, as always,
Greg Vollmer.
in this here episode 29, we're going to talk about the Buffalo Bills hosting the New England Patriots, where it's a win and in for the Patriots, and for the Bills, it doesn't really mean much anymore unless the Chiefs lose as well. The number 1 seed and the number 2 seed, if the 2 seed is, in fact, the Bills or Bengals that were affected by the cancellation, they would then play at a neutral site. The Bills and the Chiefs...
But if the Chiefs do lose on Saturday and we win, then we get the 1 seed.
Correct. Because it's by winning percentage.
Got it.
And they would be 13-4, and we would be 13-3.
So I will be Amazon overnighting a Stidham jersey.
I know. They played really well against a better 49ers defense. There's a chance that they do pull the upset. That would be amazing. Now, knowing Mahomes, he'll probably do Mahomes things with Kelsey, and the Raiders will leave him open.
No one can guard Travis Kelsey. He is 7-11. Always open.
Yeah. The Raiders are 6-10, but they're one-score games. They could be 10-6. Yeah, 10-6.
And the fucking Broncos could be 11-5.
And that's with Russ laying an egg many times. Yeah, it's the name of the game. What do you think when they show the margins here, and it's like 3 points, 2 points, 7 points? Like when it's more than 7 points, it's major. Like, whoa.
I mean, it has looked really. It has looked, and it has been at times very embarrassing for the Broncos. But when you do see the box score and see the
because of their defense,
it is
not because of Russell
No,
Wilson.
I know. Their offense has not.
He just had a decent game though. Last week was the first game for the Broncos where I'm like, maybe they'll get their money's worth.
I was into it. I was so jacked watching that game, just hoping, that they would lose. But
anyway, we're here to talk about the Buffalo Bills first and foremost, and thankfully they're hosting the New England Patriots this weekend, and it looks like we are playing for Damar Hamlin. With all the positive news we've gotten the last few days, the focus has shifted to the Patriots game. We're on to New England.
Yeah.
And now, as 7-point favorites, we see what happens this final week, because there's a lot of things that change. The Bills were the number 1 seed last week, and then Kansas City temporarily surpassed them. And then, depending on the outcome of the Bengals and Bills, that would decide who was the number 1 seed. And now it's the Bengals still have a slight chance, and that's if both of us lose. But that's only because they have the tiebreaker with the Patriots, with the Chiefs. But really, they're 11-4. They would go 12-4. The Chiefs would be 13-4. So I think the Chiefs are locked in at number 1 unless we win and they lose.
Yeah.
Damn. So the Chiefs basically...
That's the controversy.
Yeah, so it wasn't fair to the Bengals, because now if the Bengals lose and the Ravens win, they could actually not even get the division.
It wasn't fair to the Ravens because,
Now, yes, the Ravens cannot get the division as it stands based on losses. You're right.
It's all trivial.
It is.
In the grand scheme of things.
Obviously, in our last episode and all over the world, we're talking about Damar Hamlin and how he went from literally dying on the field with cardiac arrest and being revived and then taken to the University of Cincinnati Medical Center, and he basically was on life support. Basically, he was on a breathing tube and everything, and now he's basically asking, did we win? And the Bills are resurrected. The team is ready to go.
He could end up being in a state to be able to watch the game from his hospital bed.
How amazing.
There's a chance.
Yeah, because he's answering questions, he's squeezing hands, wiggling toes, he's doing things neurologically. They weren't sure what ever happened, because when you lose oxygen, you could become brain dead. And we're at the point where all the prayers and all the thoughts and all the donations and everything have sent positive vibes, and it's looking good. It went from us not wanting to film this episode or the previous one to being somewhat excited, but also in this awkward state where you're kind of You know, that there's that fine line between like tact and like just not going too far with it. And we don't do this for money. We do it for the passion and the love for the Buffalo Bills. And the reason why they play the game is because they have the passion for each other and the love for each other and the game. And right now we're going to talk about New England and the Bills. And we've already talked about them once this year. There's been a lot that's changed since then, even though that was only, week 13? It wasn't that long ago. And we're in week 18 now. So I guess a little more than a month ago.
Yeah, I was listening to Show Up on the Bulldog on WGR, like I yourself often do.
Yep.
Listening, especially, weeks of hardship like this, you view it, you listen to, for your mental health. It's like just you want to be, it makes you feel a part of the community, and listening to the radio, the local Buffalo radio, and it's definitely a form of therapy. The Bulldog made, it's not pessimism. To me, it's realism. He just mentioned that before the Hamlin injury happened, it didn't look like we could get our doors blown off, but it did look like the Bengals were the faster, more aggressive team.
Yeah, we needed to find an answer defensively. And with a couple guys going out, first it was Taron Johnson. And then if the injury wasn't as severe, it was still an injury. He had gone out. And we're like, our immediate thought, our selfish thought was, man, our defense is banged up. What are we going to do here? But then obviously it quickly turned to
little
the
did we
welfare
know
of
that
a
it was going to turn
24-year-old.
into the next hour of wondering if we just
No.
well, I mean, look, the first play against the Bengals was they literally went right after Trey White.
Yep.
Which it's an indication that Trey White, no fault to his own, isn't physically 100% yet.
Yeah.
He's not. It's not that he's recovered, but he is not
Mentally, he's still coming back into it.
But
He's
and it's
admitted.
also mentally
I'm a step behind.
and just getting you're going to be a little behind with your fitness.
Yeah, the
so
game
his fitness
moves
level
fast.
is still coming along, and it's probably going to be a struggle through the playoffs. And so they immediately picked on him right away, and he doesn't get picked on, and they Jamar Chase blew by him, and he had to grab Jamar Chase's jersey, or it was going to be a
He
touchdown.
blew by a lot of people this year. But yeah,
did.
yeah. But with
Yeah.
Trey White being a first rounder and somebody
so,
who was elite.
Yeah.
and-
Long story short, Bulldog just was mentioning that he wouldn't have been surprised if this would have been a game where we maybe not, like I said, not necessarily got our doors blown off, but it
Wake up call?
Yes. Because of everything that this team has gone through. And that's what I just felt like he struck a tune there that I related with, and that it just none of us want to see it happen, but you couldn't blame a team that's been through literally almost everything. I mean, they've had the damn phone book thrown at them this year.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. We mentioned it before with between the top shooting and all the blizzards and the injuries and traveling and all this stuff. And now,
Yeah, I
with
mean,
this
off
stuff,
the field aside, on the field, they've been through a ton.
for sure. And you know what? They still have a damn good record.
Yeah.
Last year they were 7-6 at one point before they went on a 5-6 game tear. And then in the playoffs, Allen went 9 touchdowns and 0 interceptions.
Yeah, and McDermott probably won't get Coach of the Year because it doesn't tend to. And there's also been talks about this and about
I think he
what.
does.
Generally speaking, it goes to a team that didn't expect to be good, and so that's the only thing kind of against giving it to him is that it generally goes to a coach that had a team that wasn't expected to do good.
How about
and
playing one of
we
your-
were preseason Super Bowl favorites, and we've been Super Bowl favorites.
True,
throughout the
but when
season.
you live up to
no,
that,
for sure, the circumstances have changed.
and we had to play an extra game in Detroit. We had Von Miller go out for the
trust
year.
me, I'm not
We had
not
Hyde
arguing
go
against
out.
it. I'm
We had
just saying
DeMar.
that how they vote on it, it's kind of like they don't just, it's same with the MVP. The MVP gets voted a certain way,
Yeah.
Pro Bowl gets voted a certain way.
Sure, yeah.
It's not that you get plenty of people that get snubbed, right?
Oh yeah,
I mean, every year you got coaches
Yep.
that get snubbed, and you get players that get snubbed from the Pro Bowl,
Sure.
like Matt Milano.
but would anybody be disappointed if McDermott actually won it, whether they even make the Super Bowl or not? After
No,
all
I mean, he
the
definitely
perseverance?
deserves it.
Yeah,
Yeah, the way he has kept that group together, and
it's been
kept them in the race for number one.
very impressive. Now with Mahomes never having played a game on the road in the playoffs, that will continue
Maybe.
until somebody
Maybe.
can change that.
Maybe we're not through the weekend yet.
If the Bills
There's
make
still a
it
lot
to
to
the
be
AFC
decided.
Championship and play the Chiefs, it could be at a neutral site. which is what, Indianapolis or the such. Anyway, we'll get into the matchup.
And that's if we make it there. If we
Yeah.
have to host the Bengals, if they play like they were starting to play on Monday night,
good matchup.
it is going to be a
very
tough
physical,
game.
very physical, and obviously the tone might be a little different. There's obviously a brotherhood, but at the end of the day, they're still collecting checks, and they still have an entire fan base that is expecting them to do big things. At the end of the season, 31 teams end the season a loser.
Yep.
You don't make it to the Super Bowl, you don't win the Super Bowl, then in their eyes, they didn't win. They didn't make it through their ultimate goal. They didn't see it come to fruition.
It'll be a different type of emotion given what's transpired. But trust me, the Bengals players have a chip on their shoulder, and I could tell from the first 5 minutes of watching that game that they had a chip on their shoulder. You could tell in the way that they handled the media before the Bills game that they had a chip on their shoulder.
Yeah.
And they played like it.
But the Bengals almost lost to the Patriots, and we're playing the Patriots, and the Patriots, it's winning in for them.
But that's dangerous though, comparing how they play, how one team played another team, and
I'm aware.
So then it's like saying, well, they beat the crap out of them, and we beat the crap out of that team, so we must be better than that team.
Of course, there's the woulda, coulda, shouldas, and there's the matchups in any given Sunday talks, and all the idioms and cliches. And what it comes down to is McCorkle Jones is a quarterback for the Patriots, and he has 11 touchdowns to 8 interceptions. Then you had Bailey Zappi come in as their hero temporarily until reality set in that he wasn't necessarily the answer in that. Matt Patricia isn't necessarily an offensive coordinator. He should stick to the defense, and maybe Belichick will get McDaniel back next, or McDaniel's back after he gets canned by the Raiders. Maybe the Raiders actually upset the Chiefs, and there's hope for the future.
There's a lot of
what the hell's going on out here
with the Patriots this year.
There's a lot of things that, I mean, think about the Ramondre Stevenson lateral, the pass, and then Jacoby Myers throws it back to Jones, who gets flattened by Chandler Jones, was it?
Chandler Jones.
And so Jones smeared Jones, and then they lost a lot of weird close games like that, but they've also played very strong. Their defense every year, without fail, is strong. And if we get into our predictions, mine's not nearly as bold as Greg's, but the Bills are 7-point favorites. They're expected that the two teams are going to combine for 42.5, which would be like a 25-18 score.
Yeah.
So what is your prediction?
My prediction is 43-13 Bills.
And honestly, I didn't even come up with one, but the one that I've been sticking with is like low 30s for the Bills, mid to upper teens.
Just go with one. Pick one.
I mean, I feel like I want to see it down below. I want to see 51-3 like the Bills over the Raiders in the early 90s. But I say 31-17.
All right.
We're looking at two teams that have been trending in a different way. The Patriots are 8-8. They have surpassed the Dolphins, who are on a 5-game skid, and they face a 12-3 Bills team that's pretty emotional right now. What a game. And it's in Buffalo, so the Bills fans are obviously going to be wearing all of their pray for three, and the stadium's just going to, I'm sure that every team in the league is going to have something going on. Maybe they're going to have stickers on their helmets. Maybe they're going to do a pregame something. What a time for the NFL and for the Bills. Even if they laid an egg, they're in the playoffs. They're going to be a top 4 seed because they have the division on lock. They need to come in and fire on all cylinders. Against the Bengals, they came in hot, and then they stalled in the red zone. And we can't do that in the red zone. The Bills need to punch it in because, like we just discussed, most of these games come down to 3 or 4 points, which is a field goal or, instead of a field goal, getting a touchdown. And that's going to be crucial, converting these red zone plays and opportunities and not turning the ball over. They had mentioned during the Bengals game that Josh Allen had 4 interceptions and 4 fumbles in the red zone this year or something. In his first 3 years in the NFL, he had 0 red zone.
Yeah,
games,
I mean, to me, it's the only reason why he's not being talked about as an MVP.
Yeah.
Because of the crucial and costly turnovers in the red zone.
So I'm thinking that James Cook still stays hot. Singletary hopefully gets at least his single carry.
Yeah, Mr. Single Carry.
His 13, 14 touches. And, we use the running backs in the screen game or do some RPOs. And I actually wouldn't mind seeing Diggs and Davis go over 100. Let's do that. Let's come up with a hot take. That's mine. What's yours?
I'm gonna lazily take what I was gonna say for the Bengals game and put it to this game. We're gonna see a successful flea flicker to Diggs.
Hey, they didn't get to finish their game plan, so
Flea flicker to Diggs for a touchdown. That's my bold take.
okay.
My bold prediction.
Who's tossing it back?
It's gonna be Singletary tossing it back to Allen.
You don't have to be right on that part,
Yeah.
but
Singletary.
okay.
Yeah, they won't have the rookie do the flea flicker. I think they would trust a veteran. Not that they haven't. They got trust in Cook
Yeah.
now, but they would have. I think they would have Singletary out for that.
Yeah, so we've gone over this matchup before. Their division rival. We've basically had their number, especially last year in the playoffs.
Yeah.
What was it, 47-17?
I mean, yeah, the last 2-3 years we've started to definitely have the edge.
Yep, and because we are the number 2 seed, if we beat the Patriots, they're out, so we wouldn't see them again in the playoffs. But if we beat them, we're actually helping out the Miami Dolphins if the Dolphins win. But the Dolphins still have to beat the Jets, and the Jets have been scrappy. So it's a 7-9 Jets against the 8-8 Dolphins. There's so many different scenarios that could happen, but as of right now, you're going to have the Chiefs, the Bills, and the Bengals, and the Jaguars hosting the first round.
Well, that's the Jaguars division is still in limbo too. You have the Tennessee and Jacksonville fighting for that division.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, that's
right.
why they flexed it.
That's right.
Yeah.
And Josh Jobs is playing for the Titans. He's going to be starting with only his second week with the team.
Yep, they flexed that one to Saturday night because it literally is the division.
Yeah, I'm still picking Jacksonville there. I know Mike Vrabel's a good coach, and I don't think he's getting canned. I mean, he's too cerebral and a good coach. They've just had some crap happen, and they obviously believed in Tannehill, and he did well. They put Malik Willis in there, and obviously they don't think he's ready because they got Dobbs.
No,
and Dobbs
yeah.
is a decent veteran, but he's always been a backup.
I don't know why you would get rid of Vrabel if you're gonna restart and try to find a new quarterback, unless you think that there's gonna be a leader that's better than him to try to lead that, to be a part of that.
I think Malik Willis could be something, but I just think that with quarterback, you've got to be able to read a defense, make the play call and the audibles and the changes right there. And I think maybe he's behind in that.
Yeah, and you have to have a plan, and you have to have patience, and a lot of time teams don't have both, or maybe they have one and not the other.
Yeah.
It could Allen, if you wouldn't have had patience or a plan.
Oh yeah, if he was on a different franchise,
Who
I
knows?
think he could make any mediocre team good. But I think he still would have had the same, if not a longer, learning curve on most franchises. I mean, it was a perfect marriage in Buffalo with the blue collar guy coming to Buffalo. The coaching staff was set, and Mick Bean, McDermott and Brandon Bean, they're on the same page. They both come from Carolina together. They knew what they wanted. They had the vision. They execute, and they had a game plan. And it wasn't supposed to happen as fast as it even did. But Nathan Peterman, who's actually starting for the Bears this weekend, he kind of changed that when he threw a bunch of picks.
Well, and that's the problem, right? I think that a lot of GMs have a vision, but it's not realistic, or they don't know how to follow through with the vision.
Yeah.
And one that what that leads to is putting a lot of pressure on a new quarterback, and then not knowing how or not wanting to surround a quarterback with what they need, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Peyton Manning had a horrible season his first rookie year. You look at, Brett Favre got traded from the Falcons to the Packers before he really became something.
Eli Manning, for the first 4 years, was not good. And then he became what he is, just like Daniel Jones is slowly developing into what he's supposed to in year 4. Eli went on and won 2 Super Bowls against the Patriots.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So you can develop. And I hate that it's like, they call everyone a bust if they don't make it in the first year or two. It sucks. I struggled with my playbook in college for a while because we went from a very basic defense with relying completely on athleticism, and we were better than most teams, almost every team. And when you get to college, you realize there's so many different fundamentals in football that you skipped out on in high school. When you get to something more elaborate, you have to learn this longer playbook. Each team has a different scheme. I know there's like 2 basic schemes, right? Man-to-man and zone. And then for linebackers, you're going to have a 4-3 or a 5-2, you know what I mean? A 6-2.
3-4, 4-3.
Yeah, 3-4,
5-2.
It's terminology, but the defenses are set up very similar. It's when you're counting linebackers and when a defensive end is an outside linebacker versus a defensive end and having a nose tackle or not. Anyway, fireball for fireball. Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills are going to take on the Patriots, and I just feel like you can't get in the way. I don't care. Belichick should be retired by now, or he at least shouldn't be multitasking as a GM and a head coach. He shouldn't. He needs guys that are qualified to play and coach, and Matt Patricia should not be making play calls as an offensive coordinator.
We wish that Belichick would retire. It's not necessarily that he needs to, but yeah.
True, he's brilliant. He's a brilliant mind, but I don't think he's ever been a great GM.
Matt Patricia, though, like you said, Matt Patricia definitely does not need to be an offensive.
I thought he was a good defensive mind, but I thought he was underqualified for to be the Lions coach, and obviously they figured that out the hard way.
Yeah,
but to then switch because you take all your old guys back.
I think though that part of that is Belichick's ego getting in the way a little bit, where he thinks that he can make that smart outside the box move,
because he does more often than not. But sometimes he outsmarts himself. He gets in his own way.
Sometimes you get a little too confident. You think you can do something really, off the cuff, and it bit him in the ass.
Remember last time the Bills played, the Patriots basically just threw in the towel.
Yeah.
He realized we're not as good. We can't do it. With Josh Allen playing for the Buffalo Bills and McDermott being a solid coach, he knew that his guys weren't good enough, no matter how well he coached. And his defenses are tough, and they're probably going to be super tough now. And they're going to be scrappy, knowing that if they win, they're in. But this comes back to, remember when we lost to the Pittsburgh Steelers' third string?
Yeah.
All we needed to do is beat them to get in the playoffs.
It was that was supposed to be the year that we ended the drought.
Yep, and that didn't happen.
Oh my God.
Well, I don't know what else to talk about.
They even flexed that game. They flexed that game.
I know.
Because of the implications.
I know, and there's another game that I think they should have flexed instead, but...
No, you said, though, you mentioned how we just don't know going into this game against the Patriots, because not only was it unprecedented and kind of uncharted territory what happened Monday night, but kind of just this whole week now leading into this game has been uncharted territory.
They haven't focused on football until literally Thursday when it came out that DeMar is like basically communicating. His brain was functioning correctly, and it's gonna be an uphill battle, but hopefully everything's trending correctly still, and he makes it out of this completely fine, and he can watch the Bills and maybe even eventually attend or be a part of the staff or play. I don't even want to talk about him actually playing.
But it's just, the whole build up to this game and the feelings and emotions and the things that the team has been through this past week, it's uncharted territory. And so with that, there may be... It might be not that it's never easy to predict anything in the NFL, but maybe it's even harder because of what's happened, and you just don't know. Everyone's waiting with bated breath with how the Bills are going to respond. We all want them to respond in the way that we've talked about, where it's like we want it to be this movie type thing where we beat the brakes off the Patriots and we're playing with emotion for Hamlin, and you just don't know though. This like I kind of alluded to before. With Chopin the Bulldog and kind of what he was talking about with this team, eventually the tank can run out of gas. And I'm not saying that I would think it would happen, but this team has been through so much, and there's only so much anyone can take. And so
there's only so much preparation.
I hope that they have enough to take this and use it as fuel, but I also wouldn't fault them or be surprised if they had an off game or if they ran out of gas at some point. This
says the guy that's predicting 43-13, a 30-point win, but they might be out of gas.
That's true.
There's a lot of preparation you can do, but mentally, if you're drained, there's only so much you can output physically.
Yeah. This is what I'm wanting them to do. I'm just saying that
there is still that chance. Obviously,
with what is going on. It is a little bit more unpredictable than usual, and you just don't know how they're going to respond. Obviously, with my prediction, I'm leaning towards them, being focused and wanting to play inspired football. But I'm just saying that there's going to be maybe a little bit more unpredictability than usual.
And speaking of predictions, let's talk about the rest of the league. So we both said the Bills are going to win, right? But Kansas City takes on the Raiders. And that is a tough one. I actually really want the Raiders to win. And that's not just for the first seed. That's just they've been scrappy and they've lost a lot of close games. And with them benching Derek Carr, I want to see them do their best with Stidham, who had a great game last week against the Niners defense. I just don't like Kansas City.
I know. It's
What do you think though? You think Kansas City just takes it to them?
You know what's tough? Before Kansas City became the team. So what's funny is Brady left the AFC East, and instead of the Patriots becoming our main antagonist, because now I don't want to say own because we can't be there yet. We have though figured out a way to beat the Patriots now. So it's like the new antagonist is the Chiefs.
And what's funny is they're not in our division, but we still have faced them
Yeah,
twice a year for
because
the
they
last
are
couple of years.
because they've booted us out, and they're the main reason. You know, the Bengals could be in there now too, but before this year, the last 2 years, the Chiefs are the main reason why we haven't had a chance to hold up the trophy, and so yeah, like
They have sent us home
I
2
used
years
to
in a
have
row.
nothing against the Chiefs, and maybe this is that
I
trivial.
love Andy Reid.
Yeah, it's the trivial part of sports that maybe, we talked about that we have to kind of look and kind of self-reflect based on what happened Monday night and how serious we take being a fan. But yeah, before the Chiefs stopped us from getting a Lombardi these last 2 years, I like the team. I've always
Yeah,
thought their
Alex
uniforms
Smith
are
was fun to
awesome.
root for. Oh,
They've got
yeah.
awesome helmets.
Yeah.
Yes.
Their fan
Andy
base, I mean,
Reid,
they're
their fan base
one of the
is
most similar
passionate.
to the Bills when it comes to that craziness, in the stadium and that college feel, just like Green Bay.
Yeah, but maybe it's the downside of being a fan is that you always want what the successful team has, and you start to have animosity when they beat you.
Problem is,
And
we couldn't compete with Brady. We can compete with Mahomes.
we
but he
can,
sent
but
us home.
I have animosity in the fact that
Yes.
the fucking Travis Kelce always is open. He always catches the fucking clutch
7-11.
play to get them a fucking first to win the game, or a touchdown to win the game, or to get in a field goal range to win the game.
Yep.
And Mahomes,
Clutch.
as good as Allen is, Mahomes always finds a fucking way to
And he
out duel him.
Yep. But in the
though-
regular season, we've beaten them
yes,
two
we
years in a row.
And Allen outplayed him in the regular season, but in the playoffs, it hasn't happened, and that's why.
But we've
it's
gotten
like-
closer. If you're looking at it in that regard, 2 years ago, we beat them in the regular season, lost to them in the playoffs. Last year, beat them in the regular season, lost to them in the playoffs. But it was an overtime game. It was a flip of a coin. We never got the ball, whatever. This year, we beat them in the regular season. And now we could potentially play them twice a year, 3 years in a row
Yeah,
in the playoffs.
We're gonna play them in Kansas City in the regular season again next year.
What?
Yes.
Oh, because of the
Yes.
number 1 seeds. So there you
Yeah.
go. As long as we're both good, we're probably going to see each other every year.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's go-
Mahomes just apparently the NFL doesn't want Mahomes to come to Buffalo.
No, they want him to stay right in his nice, cozy, warm home. Tampa Bay taking on Atlanta. But Tampa's going to win, right? Tampa Bay.
Yeah, and I don't see Tom Brady wanting his ego's too big to have an 8-9 team going into the playoffs.
True.
Yeah.
So he'll have a winning
I'm gonna say
season
Bucks.
finally. Then you've got Cincinnati, who's got to take on their division rival, the Ravens, who no longer have a chance to, win the division, but they can actually play spoiler for Cincinnati, potentially still have an opportunity for the number 1 seed if the Bills and Chiefs were to lose.
No Lamar Jackson, and if the Cincinnati Bengals play the way I saw them play in the first quarter that I witnessed on Monday night, they beat the Ravens.
Yeah. And then Carolina, who lost out on taking over the division, plays New Orleans. So 6-10 Carolina at 7-9 Saints. Saints
Flip
have,
a coin.
yeah, true. I don't even care. You have to pick
Fucking
one.
Andy Dalton. Are they going to bring in their tight end turned quarterback that they paid $70 million to?
I'm going to pick Carolina.
Sure.
I'm going to pick Carolina.
I really don't care about that matchup.
Now, here's a game where the division is still on the line, and New York doesn't have the opportunity. The Giants are playing the Eagles. They have an opportunity to play spoiler, but because Philly lost last week, and
Two in a row.
2 in a row.
Is Hurts
So
playing?
that we still don't know yet. Maybe he is. Okay. Hurts is likely back, right? So let's say he's back. They're playing for the number 1 seed.
Eagles win if Hurts is playing.
Okay. And if not, then if the Cowboys win and the Eagles lose, the Cowboys take the division,
Yep.
which is crazy. But
Yeah.
stay tuned for that.
I say Eagles win. Hurts plays. They get back on track after a 2-game skid.
Okay. The Giants are still in the playoffs. They have
Yep.
sealed the 5th seed. Dallas, who takes on their division rival, the Commanders, like I said, still has that opportunity at 12-4 to take the division if they win and the Cowboys lose. But either way, if they both win, they're both in either way.
Dallas beats the hapless Washington Commanders.
Yeah, especially when they're not
Commanders
even playing
don't
Heineke.
even know what
They're-
quarterback to start.
Yeah, they're starting it. Sam Howell?
Yeah.
They want to see what he has because they're already eliminated.
I don't know. I mean, I think Heineke just says F it. He's like, well, why the f did you pull me and put Carson Wentz in? That sure fucking turned out well. So why don't you just fucking see what this
and
guy
I
can
like
do?
Heineke. I think
Yeah,
he at least
Heineke's
gives him
awesome.
a chance.
He's
They
just
won
like, f it
games
though. He's
for
like,
him.
we're out of it. I'm just
Five
gonna...
of their 7 wins is with them, with
Yeah.
him.
Heineke, I don't blame Heineke. Like,
No.
just you decided to fucking pull me out and do this game that they tried with the Dolphins last year with Tua and Fitzpatrick. Like, that doesn't work.
No.
So, yeah, I don't blame him. Like, sit down. Like, there's nothing to play for. Like, they fucking see what this other guy has.
Yeah, then you've got Houston 2-13-1 taking on Indianapolis 4-11-1. They could tie. They could be the first team to get 2 ties in a
Oh,
season.
my God. Another riveting matchup. I'm surprised that didn't get
Houston's
flexed to
playing
Sunday
tough.
night.
Yeah, true. That's true. Then you've got Pittsburgh, who actually has an opportunity to keep Tomlin's record going of always having a 500 or better team.
Yeah.
Because if they lose,
Always
then-
having a winning season, yeah.
yeah, above 500.
Yep.
So the Browns 7-9, 8-8. I say pick at the Pickens, they win.
I do too. I think the Steelers win.
I like Tomlin a lot.
Yeah. So far, the experiment with Watson hasn't worked out, and I don't see it working out in this game either.
No, it's because he only does well when he gets a massage, and if you can't get the one you want with a happy ending, you won't have a happy ending. So the San Francisco 49ers are 12-4, and they're taking on the 4-12 Arizona Cardinals. San Francisco is going to roll them no matter who's at quarterback, and I believe Brock Purdy is a legitimate quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah.
He's earned his spot, even if it's a backup for now until somebody gives him. They'll probably trade him. That's for all we know. Trey Lance will be back. Jimmy G is going to go somewhere else, and then they're going to probably trade Brock.
No, they'll trade. They'll trade Jimmy G. They'll have Trey Lance and Brock Purdy battle it out in training camp.
Is Jimmy G under contract next year? I think.
Either way,
I don't know for sure.
they'll let Purdy and Lance battle it out next year in training camp, and then the best man wins. And then worst case scenario, you've got some trade bait as the backup. And
Yeah, this is the game that got flexed. The Tennessee Titans with Josh Dobbs taking on the Jacksonville Jaguars and Trevor Lawrence. I think that Lawrence continues to win, and they seal their spot in the playoffs, obviously, but
I think so,
eliminate Tennessee.
I think Jaguars win.
And then the 3-13 Chicago Bears, led by Nathan Peterman, will take on the 12-4 Kirk Cousins Minnesota Vikings.
There's going to be a lot of Bills fans that are watching this game. I mean,
That's
that
true.
are going to be paying attention to it
You
just
know
because
what?
of Peterman.
Minnesota sits there. Actually, they could still get the number 1 seed if Philly loses, because I think they might get it over Dallas if they win. Because Dallas would be 13-4, they'd be 13-4.
Yeah, who's got the tiebreaker there?
Wow. I'm not an NFC expert, but I don't
Yeah.
know yet. Either way, I think that matters for them, so they win. But it would be cool to see Nathan Peterman not throw 5 interceptions.
Yeah, I think he's going to have a decent game.
Are you calling spoiler alert?
No, but I'm
Okay.
just thinking he's going to have a decent game.
I hope he does. Now, Miami Dolphins are playing the Jets, division rival. If the Dolphins win and the Bills beat the Patriots, which the Dolphins are going to root for the Bills, then they're in. And the Jets have
Dolphins
been
don't have
eliminated.
Tua again. It's going to be
They have Skylar
Bridgewater.
Thompson or Bridgewater, yeah. Oh, Bridgewater's probably back from his injury, yeah.
I'm going to say Jets win it.
Wow, okay.
I'm going to say Mike White pulls it out.
Okay. If that happens, then there's an opportunity for the Steelers to still make the playoffs and the Patriots getting eliminated still, because there's one more opportunity other than that. You've got the Steelers. Yeah, that's really it. The Patriots, the Dolphins, or the Steelers. And the Steelers could slide in if they win and both Miami and the Patriots lose. Crazy, but not impossible. Then you've got the 10-6 Chargers taking on the 4-12 Russell Wilson-led Denver Broncos, who actually had a decent game last week. Mm-hmm. I'm still picking the Chargers.
Yeah, this is like one of those games where you just, man, the teams that are out of
They
it,
see each other twice a year.
they do. And like when I heard that statistic, about-
Chargers aren't out of it. Oh, you're saying that
The-
that with Russell Wilson maybe finally clicking,
yeah, there's
and their
a
head coach
stat where
gone.
the teams that are out of playoff contention when they're playing a playoff caliber team, they like cover 60 or 70% of the time. And we saw that last week. The Broncos played tough against the Chiefs.
Do you remember the Dolphins and Patriots when they had that return, the punt or kickoff return that got
Yeah.
it was, and then they scored and
Yeah.
oof.
We talked about that
Did we?
Yeah. Yeah, the former Patriot shoved McCorkle into the ground.
No, not that. I'm talking about the spoiler in the playoffs.
Oh my God! Wait, when Gronkowski took a bad angle and he was the only one left to try to get him.
Yep.
Yeah,
That's what I'm talking
Oh
about.
yeah, no, that was the miracle in
So
Miami.
that was before the Tampa.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was several years. Yes, a miracle in Miami.
Yep.
So anything is possible, especially any given Sunday.
Yeah, I will take the Chargers too. That if they want to be a serious team going into the playoffs in the loaded AFC, they shouldn't lose to Denver.
Now, our buddy Nathan, who actually asked me if I wanted to go to this game, is going to the Seahawks Chargers game. Did you know that?
I did not.
Yeah. He is.
Seahawks Rams.
Yeah, Nathan is the troll that always says Josh Allen sucks. He might even be in the comments saying something. But the 8-8 Seahawks have a chance still to make the playoffs. I think there's a couple scenarios where even if they win, they have to wait for someone else to lose. But they take on the Baker Mayfield led Rams.
The Seahawks really hit a wall.
They certainly did.
Man.
Well, you know what? Just like the Giants, nobody was expecting them to do very well this year. And Geno Smith came out of nowhere, resurrected his career in year number 9, and led them to a respectable 8-8. And maybe they can even have a winning season if they beat Baker Mayfield on his third team in his third or fourth week playing for them.
I'm going to take the Rams. I think they're...
Okay, I still pick Seattle, but the Rams very much could take that. And the last game of the week, the 8-8 Detroit Lions taking on the 8-8 Green Bay Packers. And
Flex
obviously,
to Sunday night.
if Green Bay wins, they're in. If they lose, they're out. So that it comes down to that. Obviously, you might still be bitter about Detroit and their defense.
It's like now after all these things that have happened, I should probably just not be like that. But maybe some inner growth that takes place. I do think that Aaron Rodgers will find a way over Jared Goff. Jared Goff has quietly had a pretty good season.
He has.
Especially at home.
Yeah.
He
He was thrown to the wayside. You know, the Rams didn't want him anymore, and you know, it was it was rough last year, but I think he's really come on.
Yeah, I think AJ Dillon and Aaron Jones. Dillon has come on strong with like a touchdown in the last 4 games. You got Aaron Jones, who's always dangerous as a pass catcher and a runner. And I'll take the 2-time MVP to get them into the playoffs because I know he wants it bad after the narrative for the last
They've won 5 in a row.
7-8 weeks was like everyone counted the Packers out, and I know that Rodgers loves to. I don't want to say he loves to hold a grudge, but you can definitely he feeds off of it. So.
He believes in his guys. Where at the beginning of the year it was shaky with a bunch of young guys.
Watson has turned into a bona fide wide receiver 1. So,
well, we're looking at the playoff scenarios here. There's a lot of different things that will probably be breaking news by the time this episode goes out. But
unprecedented territory.
Yes, but if the Bills win and the Chiefs win, we are number 2, and we would play. Actually, we wouldn't be playing New England anymore. We'd be possibly playing the Dolphins or the Steelers, which I would. Oh, man, again, you're talking about people that don't have much to lose. Obviously, wild card, you just never know what's going on. But then you've got Cincinnati playing Baltimore. That would be Cincinnati winning, Baltimore still making the playoffs, and then them seeing each other 2 weeks in a row. How crazy would that be? And then Jacksonville playing the Chargers. That's if Jacksonville were to beat the Titans. So that's crazy. Miami, Pittsburgh, and Tennessee are the only ones in the hunt. We'll see.
Yep, it's going to be interesting.
It will. Well, we're still thinking of Damar Hamlin. We're hoping that the Bills can mentally and physically prepare for this game this weekend and be ready to play for Damar. So
hopefully Damar can watch the game.
Yes, I hope so too.
That would be awesome. Watch it on the TV.
Yep. And before we go, I just want to mention we do showcase 2 cards every episode. This is 2018, which is Josh Allen's rookie year. This is the Origins. It's one of my favorite series that Panini makes. And this card was actually handed out as a series only at Ralph Wilson Stadium. It was before it became New Era, and it was before it became Highmark. I have the whole team set, but I broke it open to be able to have this card. But Josh Allen, rookie card.
And then I've got the Josh Allen 2018 Illusions football rookie card. Pretty cool graphics there.
Yeah, that's
It's
the acetate. It's
yeah.
a clear one where you can see through and get all the rainbow colors and whatnot. It's really cool. They have a series that's also autographed. This one is not. Well, those are our thoughts and our predictions. Let us know in the comments what you think. This has been episode 29 of The House That Allen Built. I'm Scott Martin, with me as always.
Greg Vollmer.
Let's go!
Buffalo.
That wasn't bad.
Yeah.
Well, it didn't have the pop. What the hell is this? Oh, that's from the pen. I must be.
All right.
You know what I should have gotten you for Christmas? Ear hair trimmers, because I always want to pluck them. It's like a mustache in your ear.
It's probably the cancer.
Too soon.
Sorry.
Okay, this is episode 29, for whatever it's worth, and how he was on the staff of the New York Jets in 1997 when they had a similar injury happen. You just ate the one I prepped, you dickface?
No.
Really? You know what? Let's go with the hat forward this time. Yeah.
It just feels incomplete right now.
It does. But you know what? At least the season's going to happen versus, like, fantasy football leagues. There's
What a mess
co-champions.
that is.
Oh, my God.
You know how I'm doing mine for my league?
You going to donate the money?
No, we're counting Burrow's points this week to the game.
Doubling it?
The one dude's up 45 or 43.
So you're just taking the players from this week. For,
all it is Burrow, because that's the only player that the other guy
because they're
had,
playing.
and he
Luckily,
needs
sometimes they're
45 to
benching.
win.
45?
Yes, he's down 45. So that's why I said.
Man, if Burrow lights it up against who are they playing?
I know. He thinks that they could have put up 45 against the Bills. And as always, Bills Mafia, make it loud in there. I already know you're going to bring the energy and the passion.
We didn't do the cards.
Oh,
Because
sorry.
a lot of times we do where you say something first and then I do the cards and I feel like it kills the vibe because I like going right into it after your speech.
Yeah.
Which I love. And you nail it almost every time. And when you don't, who gives a
Josh Allen 2018 Illusions football rookie card.
Oh, it's my turn to drop it.
Mystique.
Well, I guess I'll fix my card since I'm always getting on you about
Hey,
it.
I got it. I got that one.
Yeah, man. I think you sabotaged me over here. You're like, you know what? You're always putting me on blast. That is amazing. That is amazing. I didn't even touch it. That is hilarious.
Just hanging on by a thread, just like my life. Hey, is that new?
Yeah, Shiloh got it for me for Christmas.
No shit.
And I already scratched it, but it's cool.
That's
yeah.
sweet.
Yeah, I scratched it, but I think I can buff some of that out. I was appreciative. I enjoy it. What's funny is that I always try to get her. I say, "Have a great day at school today. I love you." You know, whatever, and she'll whatever. She's out the door. But when I'm giving Saber attention, she's jealous. Like when I gave him a hug tonight, she came over and sandwiched us. I have to wait for her to want to show the affection. Mm-hmm. And then there's times where she shows it, and I'm like, get away. Like I'm doing something, you know? Mm-hmm. So it's hard because I have to like be hyper aware that this is her time to show affection, and I don't ever want to deter her from doing that. And that I know she appreciates me in her own way.
Yeah.
All right.
Cards.
This is the Illusions Mystique. Josh Allen. Ooh, it's a rainbow acetate.
You love rainbow.
Rainbow! Taste my rainbow, bitch! Thanks for watching. Let's go!
Buffalo.